Hello, hello, day 4 of 66. Chris Flick here. Now today we got a training advice for the college-bound kid. Now, I worked with some kids, and one of the greatest things that I do is, one of the greatest things that makes me happy, I guess, is when those kids come back from college or when they're going to college and they're like, crap, I don't know what to do, right? Because now sports are over and life's about to begin. And we need to start developing habits now as that college-bound 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. Develop habits now so that when you get older, these habits are established, they're hardwired, and they just become routine. So, you know, one guy said like, hey, what's the best way to stay in shape? Never get out of shape in the first place. What's the best way to not get hooked on, these sugary foods? Don't consume massive amounts of sugary foods. What's the best way to maintain healthy body weight? Don't get an unhealthy body weight, okay? So we have to keep that in mind. Let's try to stay as fit as possible here as we develop these habits. Number 1, going to college here. Walk as much as possible. Get your body moving. You want to set a goal at 10,000, 11,000. Everybody these days seems to have, an Apple Watch, right? So we could always track steps. Try to drive that number up, all right? Number 2, we got to start thinking about how we're going to eat. We got to eat like a grown-up now. We're 18, we're 19. You got to eat like an adult. Maybe it's time to get rid of the Lucky Charms. Maybe it's time to eat something more, more healthy in the mornings, right? The Pop-Tarts and all the other stuff you're probably going to keep in your dorm room are not going to be ideal for long-term health, right? That's number 1. Eat like an adult. Number 2, maybe if you are struggling and you are eating those types of foods, put it in an eating window. Don't consume foods late into the night, okay? Maybe push back your breakfast, your start time if you're eating a little bit. Try to just consume food in, say, 10 to 12 hour window. I think 10 would be ideal. 12 is what it is. You know, some days you're going to break it. That's also fine, right? You're going to go out with your friends, watch a movie, go eat some pizza after, whatever it may be, right? That's probably going to be okay. Just don't do it every night. So walk as much as possible. Eat like a grown-up. Use an eating window. Now we need to talk about strength training. I think it's super important now at this age here, where you're around 19, 20. The stronger you can get yourself in the 20s, the better you're going to be long-term. But we have to keep body composition in mind. I don't just want to get as strong as possible, put on a bunch of mass, and get out of breath walking up the stairs, okay? I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that, when you're 60 years old, you're going to have about 75 to 80% of the strength that you had when you're at your peak, say in your 20s, early 30s. So the goal should be this. If you want to be strong at 60, we need to be strong in our 20s, okay? So you gotta try to drive up your overall body strength. And you can do that by, I would say, strength training 2 or 3 times a week, right? It doesn't have to be anything complex. Upper body push, all right? It could be like a bench press or an overhead press. Upper body pull. Ideally, I want to do chin-ups, okay? We could also do some rows where you're horizontal pulling. So keep that in mind as you're putting it together. Vertical push one day, maybe a horizontal row on that same day. And then the next day you do a horizontal push and a vertical pull. All right, so you're working in all these different patterns here. Lower body. I want to do a push and a pull for the front. So a push would be a squat, we'll say. Goblet squat, split squats, anything like that. It doesn't have to be complex. One day you do a 2-legged, a bilateral squat, which is like a goblet squat. The next day you strength train, do a single leg squat, like a split squat, okay? On the goblet squat day, maybe you do a lunge or you do a single leg Romanian deadlift, okay? Where you're gonna work the posterior a little bit more. So it's like we're gonna do a 2-legged exercise and a 1-legged exercise every day, all right? Same could be said, then you just flip it. If you're doing split squats one day, maybe you do 2 dumbbell or barbell RDL, all right? So you wanna push and pull for the upper body, push and pull for the lower body, all right? So we got walking, we've got eating, we've got strength training. The 4th thing here, we have to figure out a good way to develop healthy sleep habits, right? I just had a girl in yesterday. She has practice at 7 a.m. 3 days a week. She's talking about sleeping in those other days. I was like, try to go to bed at least at the same time. You don't have to wake up at the same time, even though that would help you long term, but try to have a consistent sleep time for as many days as possible throughout the course of the week. Consistency is what's going to allow your body to kind of get into the groove of getting restful sleep. So once that sun goes down, we got to start shutting it down. I know that's hard for a college kid. And then in the morning time, sun's starting to come up. We might have to get rid of those blackout shades or whatever it may be, and start to rise as the sun comes up a little bit, and try to get yourself into a healthy routine. So if you got a class at 8:30 every day and you're waking up at 8 twice a week, try to wake up at 8 more days than that, more than just on your class days, right? But most importantly, try to have a consistent sleep time. I know the weekends, I know what that's going to bring in college, but just remember, if you're complaining about being tired, it's probably because you're not sleeping enough. So let's get rid of the Netflix late at night. Let's not stay up till 4 a.m. Let's not stay up till 2 a.m. if we don't have to. Let's not even stay up past midnight. Those hours of sleep that we get before midnight are going to be the most important hours that you'll get. Try to cash in on those, okay? That's it, man. Let's walk. Let's get as active as possible with those steps. Let's eat like a grown-up. Let's use some sort of time window. Let's strength train 2 to 3 times a week. All right, let's make it a habit to do that. And then let's get in some sort of sleep routine here. So we need consistency here, all right? And you might as well cut back on the booze while we're talking about college-bound kids. Hope you guys like this one. Peace, everybody.